coming to you from the Orange Room in Coon Rapids, Minnesota. This is It's Only Food with your host, Chef John Politte. Well, welcome back to the Orange Room. This is Chef John Politte, and this is It's Only Food. Today we got a special treat for you. We are going to actually follow a recipe. Unbelievable, I know. But I got this from one of my colleagues at Edgewood Senior Living. Her name is Christy Peterson. She's the dining director out in Bismarck, North Dakota. And we all went out there about a year or two ago to a meeting, and she served these with lunch, and they were fantastic. They were called cheese buttons, and we're going to be making these today. I'm going to follow your recipe, Christy. I know that's hard to believe, but we're going to get started on these, and we're going to make them, and then we're going to try them out, and you are going to want to make these the minute you see what they look like, so if you don't know what they are already. So let's go over there and see what's in the kitchen for our ingredients. We of course have about 24 ounces of cottage cheese, 2 cups of flour, 4 eggs, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 large onion, but I'm using 2 small mediums, a 1/4 cup of butter to saute those onions in, and then it just says cream, so we're going to go with cream. So it's going to be good. I've had these. I love them. She had to wrestle me to get this recipe from her, so we're going to do her right. So don't forget to join us. Come right back. We'll get started on this. Well, hello and welcome back. If any of you watched my the show previous to this, the Southwestern Chicken and Bacon show that I did, that was a mistake that I created into a meal, and that mistake was from this show that I shot last week and screwed up, and everything ended up in the sink over there, and you saw pictures of it. We're going to redo the show again. What happened is all the dough that I made for this stuck to the pan. For some reason I can't figure out why. Maybe it's because I didn't let the oven heat up enough or use the improper spray. I just use olive oil to do my pan, and then I put the dough on the pan and cook it off. I'm going to use spray this time, food release, because that's what they tell you to do. So anyway, don't forget to see that show and how I saved it. It's pretty awesome, actually. We're going to do onions. Since the recipe calls for sauteed onions, I'm just going to go ahead and chop these, get them out of the way, set them aside, and then we can get on with making our dough for this. I'm just going to give this a nice little julienne. You want to be able to see the onion and know the onion is in there. I don't want to dice it up and just kind of hide it with all the other ingredients. We've got our onions all julienned up. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the next shot for making the dough. And I believe the last time too, I forgot to add the eggs to this dough, and kind of had a problem with that too. I don't bake, so this is kind of a baking thing because you have to actually follow instructions. I'm more of a cook, and we're just kind of crazy pirates that do whatever the hell we want. So anyway, all right, well, I've got my 2 cups of flour. I have 4 eggs. Just gonna crack right into there. It's almost like we're making pasta. Our teaspoon of salt. I am going to use some of the Himalayan salt that I got from Siri over at Spoon Fork Heart. She sent me some Himalayan salt, and I'm going to use it here in this application. It calls for a teaspoon, which we all know is 2 pinches. All right. Baking powder. I kind of know what a teaspoon looks like, so don't freak out, everybody. Unless you think that's not enough, then leave a comment. All right. Okay, now the master of this dish. Make sure it's still good. We have got our cottage cheese. Now I have a little bit left over from the last one, but the combination of these 2 pitchers is going to equal the 24 ounces that we need for that, and I'm going to mix it by hand. can get my hand in there. So I've got the one. Two, and you can use large curd, small curd, high fat, low sodium, high sodium, whatever you want to use. We're not going to get bogged down in all that. Just use cottage cheese. So I'm mixing it with my hand, of course. Make sure you get all the goodies. I did wear a glove, as you all saw. With the exception of last week, I've only made this once. And I made them at work, so I was using actual work pans and work oven and work instruments, and it just seems like in a professional kitchen it works out better. So this first time I've made them at home, with the exception of last week when the show went kaplooey. So it's kind of loose. I think if I need to add more flour, I will. So I'm actually going to stop stirring it now. Everything is mixed and incorporated. I'm going to let it just sit, and we'll saute the onions. So I'm going to take my B-roll camera off the oven so it doesn't go up in flames. And we'll get it right here. Perfect shot for that. I'm going to turn the oven on. Oh. Get our burner on. So our quarter cup of butter too. Our quarter cup of butter actually went into that dough mix last week too, because again, I didn't read the directions on the recipe. So, my bad. Let that butter melt, and we'll get those onions sauteed. All right, we're gonna saute up these onions. Remember, I got two in there. The recipe called for one large one. But it's the equivalent. We're gonna let those saute up, and I'm gonna throw these on the pan. I'm gonna spray the pan because last time I used olive oil with a napkin and just kind of went over the whole pan. I think that might have screwed up. So I'm gonna spray the pan with the pan spray. Really good. The oven is hot already, preheated, which is important. Oh, and I didn't add the eggs. I did add the eggs this time, so it's kind of why it's all mushy. Alright, you can use a spoon to put it onto the plate, kind of like you do drop biscuits or cookies or whatever. I'm going to use my nice little scoop because I paid a lot of good money for it and I want to use it. This actually makes quite a few, but for today's show I'm just going to do enough to fit into our little casserole dish that we got. After we get done baking them off, we're going to put them into a casserole dish with the cream and onions and then bake them again so they absorb all that rich goodness. Alright, I got them all panned up. I'm going to throw them in the oven for about 20 minutes. Their onions are sauteing up real nice. So I'm going to let these onions go for just a little bit longer, then I'm going to shut them off. They're perfectly sauteed right now in that butter. That's going to add more flavor. So when the cheese buttons are done, I'm going to pull them out of the oven. I'm going to let them cool just a bit so I can handle them. Then we're going to put them into our casserole dish, cover them with the sauteed onions, add heavy cream, put them back into the oven covered, and let them cook to absorb all of that rich goodness. And then we're going to plate it up, play music, and taste them. So, I'll be back. All right. I'm gonna let these cool off and then we'll add them to the casserole dish with the sauteed onions and cream. I'm just gonna take them out and stack them right into the casserole dish here. I think what I'll do though is each layer, I'm gonna have about 2 layers. I'm gonna put some of the onions in there. Put half the onions in, and then we'll cover them with the other half of the onions. The onions right on there. Heavy cream. I'm just going to cover them up like this. The lid on, and that's ready to go back in the oven, 350 for 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll taste the lid off. As you can see, that cream is just bubbling and it's just gorgeous. That's going to be tasty. So we're going to plate it up. You know what comes next. Cue the music. Oh my God. There wasn't any seasoning really added to any of this, except for the salt and the onion. And this has got more flavor in it. Well, the heavy cream's got some flavor too, but really simple. Very simple dish, and it's got probably more flavor in it. My God, this is good. If you have never had a cheese button, you've got to try this recipe. These are really, really good. I don't know where the flavor is coming from. It's flour and egg with some onions on it. Cottage cheese, but simple. It couldn't be any simpler than this. Fantastic recipe. Christy, thanks again for sharing this with me. She is the Director of Dining Services out there in Bismarck, North Dakota. Does a wonderful job, and her residents get to eat like this all the time. So I'm giving her a big thumbs up and a kudos. All right, well, if you like this recipe, go ahead and give it a thumbs up right down below here. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Make sure you leave a comment below and let me know what you think of this recipe. And also, share this video with everyone you know. Just click it and send it along. It'll go from there. And don't forget to go to itsonlyfood.biz to see all of our seasoning, spices, and dry rubs that we've got available for you over there. And that's about it. We're going to wrap it up. I appreciate it. Everybody watching, take care of yourselves and have a great day. We'll see you next time right here on It's Only Food. Bye-bye.